This week on Ebert and Roeper, Al Pacino suspects Robin Williams of murder in Insomnia.
Also, Matthew McConaughey is a hotshot lawyer with a dark secret in 13 Conversations About One Thing.
And Hugh Grant gets a crash course on growing up in About a Boy.
I'm not who you think I am. No. Walter Fidge, lousy writer, lonely freak, murderer.
Veteran cop Al Pacino matches wits with suspected killer Robin Williams in Insomnia. It's coming up later in the show, one of 5 movies we'll review. I'm Richard Roeper.
And I'm Roger Ebert. Our first movie is a true delight, the story of a man who thinks he'd make a terrible husband, but discovers he might make a wonderful father. Hugh Grant gives a charming performance in About a Boy as Will, a London man of 38 who's never held a job or had a relationship that lasted more than 2 months. Will is an idle bachelor and happy to be so. Deciding to focus on single moms, he pretends to be a single dad.
Just the other day, I was thinking about my ex, and he came crawling up and put his little pudgy arms around my neck, and he said, "You hang in there, Dad."
God, that's amazing for a 2-year-old.
Is it?
He meets a woman named Fiona with a son named Marcus, and this son attaches himself to Will with a single-minded determination.
Can I come in?
No,
Why?
because I'm busy.
What are you doing?
I'm watching TV.
That's Nicholas Hoult as Marcus. At a party, Will chats up Rachel, played by Rachel Weisz, and manages to give the impression that he has a son.
All rap music sounds exactly the same to me.
Almost. I tell you what, I know a 12-year-old who'd kill you for saying that.
Really?
Yeah.
So do I, come to that.
I hear?
Yeah. What's yours called?
Mine. Everybody, school marks.
Will has been telling so many lies, he needs advice from Marcus on how to get himself out of trouble.
I want to go out with her, okay? I'd like her to be my girlfriend. There, I've said it.
Oh, brilliant. Why didn't you just say that?
I don't know.
About a Boy is based on a novel by Nick Hornby, who wrote High Fidelity, which was also made into an entertaining movie about a man who can't seem to settle down. The key to this movie is the warm and funny quality of the relationship between the Hugh Grant character, who has never grown up, and the 12-year-old boy who is actually more mature than he is. By trusting him and liking him, Marcus teaches Will the meaning of loyalty and also gives him an important responsibility for the first time in his shiftless life. About a Boy is a real charmer, smart, heartwarming, and captivating.
All of that and more. You know, there are certain movies that speak to you in a way that maybe you don't even want to admit. That's what this movie is like for me. This is my favorite movie this year, one of my favorite movies of the last several years. Hugh Grant is so good, and people say, oh, he's just playing that guy that he always plays. You know what? He's really good at playing this guy, and there's a difference between this and some of the rogues and kind of the stuttering romantic leads he's had in other films. I love the novel, and I love what they did with it.
Well, there's hard to meet in this role, you know, and although Hugh Grant, to be sure, you know, plays charming guys very easily and has done it in a lot of different movies, nobody does it better. And here, where there's a real subject matter and a really intelligent screenplay and some human drama involved, it's his best movie. It is probably his best movie, and this is also really funny. I don't want to make it sound like this is just some sort of sappy romantic comedy, like that's a date movie, or you want to categorize it this. It's really funny. He knows his life. The Hugh Grant character knows his life so well and really likes being a single guy, and I appreciated seeing that in a film. You know this little kid, Nicholas Hoult, too? He looks like a real little boy. He's not one of the Macaulay Culkin clones, you know, who looks impossibly cute and handsome. He looks like he could be trouble if you crossed him, you know, and at the same time, he's seen a lot of life, and he's very convincing. Yeah, he's great, too. It's a real gem. Okay, our next movie is 13 Conversations About One Thing, and this is a sharp and profound character study from director Jill Sprecher, who wrote the screenplay with her sister Karen. This movie features the kind of stellar collective acting that provides a good argument for an Academy Award category for Best Ensemble Cast. There are 5 distinct stories that loosely interconnect. One such overlap features a terminally gloomy insurance executive, played by Alan Arkin, in a barroom debate with a hotshot attorney, played by Matthew McConaughey.
I worked hard, I put in the hours, I went to court, I fought well, and I won.
Maybe you just got lucky this once.
I don't believe in luck. Luck is a lazy man's excuse.
Spoken like a guy that's had nothing but good luck.
Clea Duvall has little money, a rough past, and a shaky future, but she's infused with a sunny disposition, unlike her fellow housekeeper, played by Tia Texada.
Rich people, they got it easy. They don't got to worry about nothing.
But with money, worry about other things, I suppose.
Like what?
Worry about losing it.
In another story thread, John Turturro is a physics professor having an affair with a colleague.
Can't believe you haven't been back to your place yet to get the rest of your things.
Maybe I'll just get new things.
The one thing in 13 Conversations is happiness. Does it truly exist, or is it an illusion? Arkin is magnificent as the pessimist who obsesses over an employee who's always looking on the bright side, whose very DNA seems to carry the happiness gene. Matthew McConaughey is also exceptional, as he was in Frailty. After almost collapsing under the weight of his own hype a few years back, McConaughey now seems to be quietly building a serious career. But really, all of the actors are up to the challenge in 13 Conversations About One Thing, that rare film that has you thinking about the characters as if they were real people.
You know, that's a specialty of Jill Sprecher, who also made Clock Watchers about those temporary employees in an office. She sees these ordinary people who have problems that everybody can share, and then she's tender and attentive to them. She really listens to them. For example, the John Turturro character, who leaves what is apparently an unhappy marriage in order to go into a love affair where he brings no passion. He gets no happiness out of that either. He's going through the motions. Some people in this movie have the gift of finding happiness, and others absolutely seem to lack it.
And it's really clever because it has kind of a Pulp Fiction time thing where it folds onto itself and you don't know where you're at, but it all ties up beautifully together. I don't want to give any surprises away, but you don't know exactly where you're at until the very end, but it's a journey really worth taking.
I like what you said about the ensemble cast, because there's no one star in this movie. It's like they're all living together and kind of circling each other in this same extended moral universe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming up later in the show, Al Pacino as a guilt-ridden cop in Insomnia, and Ryan Gosling as a confused neo-Nazi in The Believer. And coming up next, 3 of the best new titles on home video.
What does your dad do for a living? He's like a Wall Street guy or something?
Ebert Roeper's Thumbs Up Video is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. At the movies or at home, Raisinets.
My thumbs up video this week is the new DVD release of The Hustler, starring Paul Newman. The sort of Paul Newman week is coming up at the video stores, where Dis of Hombre and The Verdict are also going to be arriving soon. They're all excellent films, but The Hustler is my choice, an American classic starring Newman as Fast Eddie Felson, a pool hustler who thinks he's unbeatable. His strategy is to set up a high-stakes showdown with the legendary but aging Minnesota Fats, played by Jackie Gleason, in a great performance.
He is great. Geez, that old fat man. Look at the way he moves, like a dancer.
12, cross-eyed.
And those fingers, them chubby fingers.
The disc features 7 audio commentaries, including one by Paul Newman himself.
That slot suddenly became open, and apparently Robert Rawson read about it in the newspaper, and although he had already signed somebody to play the part, he called me in Paris and asked me if I'd read the script.
40 years later, it still stands out as one of Newman's greatest performances in a timeless story of characters tested under pressure.
Also on video, Sidewalks of New York, from writer, director, actor Edward Burns, who channels vintage Woody Allen in this smart and funny look at the romantic relationships of 6 Manhattanites. Stanley Tucci is a womanizing cad who hits on the much younger Brittany Murphy.
You have a very different look. It's not you're not a classic beauty. I think you have the look of the new millennium.
And the laughs come from a much lower place in Not Another Teen Movie, a high school comedy romance that lampoons every other high school comedy romance of the last 2 decades. The kids attend John Hughes High and have lunch at the Anthony Michael Dining Hall.
So listen, you ever wonder what it would be like to be the most popular girl in school?
You mean anorexic, superficial, a bitch, a whore who lacks any real long-term goals?
Exactly.
We also get some 18 deleted scenes and an alternate ending, as if it matters how a movie like this ends. Lots of laughs, though. Having recently endured the cliche-riddled The New Guy, I'd much rather watch Not Another Teen Movie than another teen movie.
I think I'd rather watch The Hustler than either one.
Well, yeah, and The Verdict as well.
Okay, coming up later in the show, Al Pacino and Robin Williams as cop and killer in Insomnia.
This guy, he crossed the line, and he didn't even blink.
And I'm going to compare the film and digital versions of the new Star Wars picture.
And coming up next, a new animated adventure story, Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron.
time to break that horse.
You think that you can take me on? You must be crazy.
A wild Mustang in the Old West has no intention of letting some two-legged creature take him for a ride in Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. James Cromwell is the voice of the Colonel, and the gravel-voiced veteran rocker Bryan Adams provides the soundtrack for the Stallion's adventures. Now, the horses don't talk to each other or to other creatures in this traditional animated feature from DreamWorks, but Matt Damon does narrate the adventure from Spirit's point of view.
I couldn't understand it. She treated this scrawny two-legged like one of our kind.
Daniel Studi is the voice of Little Creek, who relates more to the horses than to the soldiers and railroad men who are trying to tame the West and to stop any living creature standing in the way of their idea of progress. Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, is aimed at a very young audience. The Bryan Adams songs are heartfelt and catchy, but they're so literal they're almost superfluous. And these horses are so cute and expressive they make Bambi look like a National Geographic documentary. But the animation is bright and crisp. I particularly enjoyed the water scenes, and the simple story zips along, clocking in at just over 80 minutes. The violence is only suggested, and I'm fairly certain that no animals were harmed in the making of this movie. As a good old-fashioned adventure for kids, Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron is a winner.
I like it, too. I like the purity of it. It's just a straightforward adventure story. It's kind of like Jack London's White Fang. And there aren't any little, cute chipmunks who are making wisecracks in the corner of the screen.
No.
It's just a great, big, heroic story of this horse and this Indian who befriends it and the destinies that they find. It's just, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, for what it is, it does it beautifully, and I do like the fact that it's an hour and 20 minutes. It doesn't have to go on long any farther than that. And you have someone to root for, somebody to root against, but nothing that's going to have kids having nightmares in the middle of the evening.
Yeah, because the horses have some pretty harrowing adventures. They're not really in the kind of danger that's going to really bother a kid.
No.
Our next movie is The Believer, which won the Grand Jury Prize at the 2001 Sundance Film Festival and then almost disappeared because of its controversial subject matter. This movie is about a neo-Nazi who was born and raised as a Jew, but becomes an anti-Semite and eventually plans to bomb a synagogue. Not exactly timely for post-9/11. The role is brilliantly played by Ryan Gosling as a smart young man named Danny who burns with a fierce flame of hatred. He likes edgy theoretical discussions.
There was no 6 million. At most, 200,000 Jews died in the camps, and the majority of them...
Ridiculous. The documents. Have you seen the deportation
The Nazis themselves have kept records.
If Hitler didn't kill 6 million Jews, why in the hell is he a hero?
Danny becomes involved in a fascist organization led by Billy Zane and Teresa Russell. Ironically, they wish he weren't so anti-Semitic because such a prejudice, they say, is passé these days.
We want to build bridges to certain positions in the political mainstream. Works like the bell curve, sociobiology, Earth First, the Genome Project. We want to have lectures, invite blacks and Jews and liberals, Chomsky speaks, Stanley Crouch.
You know, I've been waiting my whole life for something like this.
Danny gets involved with a girl played by Summer Phoenix who doesn't understand why he knows so much about Judaism if he hates Jews so much.
All you ever talk about, Jewish. The only people that ever talk about it that much are Jews.
Nazis talk about it all the time.
Although the purpose of Henry Bean, the writer and director, is obviously serious and he wants to show how the virus of anti-Semitism works, I wonder if Danny isn't such a skillful hate-monger that his character does more harm than good. Danny allegedly turned against Jews after heated arguments in Hebrew school, and I wonder whether such a self-hating Jew could be created out of merely theological differences or whether some deeper pathology is at work. You can see what the movie's attempting, but does it accomplish what it intends? I'm not sure. The Believer is so well-directed and acted that it's effective, but at what? This is good filmmaking, but shaky philosophy, and still, because it's so interesting, I give it thumbs up.
I give it thumbs up as well. I mean, this kid's alienated. It's not just that he has problems in school, but I think he's got problems at home that are alluded to. We see a little bit of that. But I think this is actually a testimony to a beautiful and powerful and enduring religion, Judaism. I mean, I know there are some groups that are saying no because this guy is so charismatic and makes such a powerful character that it's, that's too much glorifying his neo-Nazi tendencies, but I think if you stick with it, yeah, it's debatable whether or not he's too charismatic as this hater, but I think it's definitely worth the journey, and Ryan Gosling is really strong.
Well, he's very, very good in the movie, and as I said, as I was watching his Sundance, I was kind of cringing because his anti-Semitic statements, He's so articulate and so forceful that it's almost like people won't understand that you're not supposed to like this guy. I mean, maybe I'm just bending over backwards a little bit too far here. It's a good movie, but
I think you might be, quite frankly.
I was worried about it.
I mean, I think his arguments are pretty repulsive, even though he's articulate, but it's definitely worth seeing. Okay, our next movie is the effectively chilling police thriller Insomnia. This is director Christopher Nolan's follow-up to last year's brilliant back-to-front Memento, and it confirms Nolan as a major talent. The great Al Pacino has created yet another memorable performance, this time as Detective Will Dormer, a legendary cop who comes to a small town in Alaska to investigate the murder of a teenage girl and to flee the glare of an internal affairs probe back home in L.A.
You live on your own? Top of his grandpa's building. You don't have an alibi for Friday night, do you?
Didn't know I was going to need one.
At the party, what'd you find about it?
Stuff.
Oh, it was pretty rough.
Wasn't rough.
That's Martin Donovan as Dormer's partner and Jonathan Jackson as the victim's boyfriend. It appears as if Dormer will make quick work of the case, but a stakeout goes horribly wrong, and Dormer is disoriented by the never-setting sun.
Dormer here. Hello?
Can't sleep, Will? Me neither.
Who's there?
That's Robin Williams on the other end of the line. Williams plays it straight as Walter Finch, a small-time crime author who's Dormer's prime suspect. But Dormer can't turn him in because Finch knows Dormer's darkest secrets.
You know, when I heard that they were about somebody from L.A., I panicked. Killing changes you. You know that. It's not guilt. I never meant to do it.
Insomnia is based on a 1997 Norwegian film, and though there are some key plot differences, the elements that made the original so memorable remain. Then there's Al Pacino. From Serpico to Sea of Love to Heat, Pacino has played cops who march to their own tunes, and he does it again with Dormer, who has been exposed to so much evil that he's lost his way. Only when he's marooned in the land of the midnight sun is he forced to confront his demons. In fact, all three Oscar-winning actors, Pacino, Williams, and Hilary Swank as a wide-eyed rookie cop, are good here, as good as they've ever been. Insomnia is a great film blanc, the Snow White parallel of a film noir.
You know, that Norwegian film starring Stellan Skarsgård was really a masterpiece. And what's interesting is this movie is not simply a retread. Christopher Nolan is a director in his own right who is not just making a remake, because oftentimes these Hollywood versions of European movies are really trashing the original. This takes the same material, it reinterprets it, it puts it in Alaska instead of the north of Norway, and it deals with this character who is sleepless with guilt and with anguish and with paranoia in such an effective way.
Yeah, Pacino has never looked so worn and aged, and he's so great, and sometimes he can just go over the top and dominate a movie, but he lets the story tell itself, and he shares the screen with Robin Williams, who's excellent here, and Hilary Swank, which is nice to see her get a good, strong performance like this out of her again.
Okay, coming up next, what's the best way to see Star Wars Episode 2? Projected on film or projected by digital video?
It's all Obi-Wan's fault. He's holding me back.
My final cut when we come back.
Get on board.
On last week's show, talking about Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, I said the images looked fuzzy in the film version that I saw, but of course the movie was shot on digital video, and director George Lucas prefers that it be seen with a digital projector. A few days later, I was able to see the movie a second time, projected digitally this time. I was in the same theater in almost exactly the same seat, so I got a good comparison, and the digital version looked much sharper, clearer, brighter, and crisper. If you can see Episode 2 with digital projection instead of film, that would definitely be your best choice. I think the bottom line is movies shot on digital video look better with digital projectors, and movies shot on film look better with film projectors, and that's my final cut. We'll be right back.
Visit our website, ebertandroper.tv, presented by the Walt Disney Collection.
Okay, recapping this week's movies, total agreement this week as Richard finally sees the light. 2 thumbs up for About a Boy, 2 thumbs up for 13 Conversations About One Thing. It opens next week. 2 thumbs up for Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. It also opens next week. 2 more thumbs up for The Believer, and 2 thumbs up for Insomnia. And it, too, opens next week.
Remember, you can hear all our recent reviews at ebertandroper.tv and read us in print at suntimes.com. Next week, we'll be back with Ebert and Roper's American Film Festival. And until then, the balcony is closed.
You know, I hope with all the hype about Star Wars and Spider-Man, the people don't overlook About a Boy, which is really a charming film.
You know, it's opening the same weekend as Star Wars, and I think it's great counter-strategy.
Yeah.
You don't see Star Wars, go see About a Boy.
Gives the adults a choice, too.
There's not fake things, there's real things. These are all the things right here that are real.
Breyer's All Natural. Taste, not technology.
They're your family. That's why you serve them all-natural Tyson chicken with no additives and minimal processing. Tyson, it's what your family deserves.
Last night, Charlie and I were so tired, we checked into a Motel 6 for a good night's sleep. Well, Charlie's still sneezing.
You can't beat the taste of a Quiznos oven-toasted Santa Fe smoked turkey sub with bacon. Try one today.
Toasty. Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is brought to you by...
Stop and go to Meineke for brakes and expert auto service you can trust. Meineke, you won't pay a lot, but you'll get a lot.